Okay, I'm here with Congressman Maxwell Frost.
Doing good to be
Very
here.
good to
Yeah, man.
see you. First of all, congratulations. You won your primary in
Thank
Florida.
you. Yeah, I just found out 5 minutes ago.
Yeah? So that means you're up for another term. You just
We'll have to win the general.
Okay,
We don't take anything for granted.
We don't take it for granted.
We're feeling good.
We're feeling good.
We're going to do the work.
Okay, so what have you learned? What has been kind of most surprising for you as a congressman? And I want to know how you've changed.
Honestly, what's been really surprising for me is we know there's so much dysfunction in Congress, and oftentimes we just blame the people there for that dysfunction, which I'm going to give them 60% of the blame. Right? The 40%, or a good chunk, actually has to do with the institution itself and the fact that there are inherent flaws in it. I mean, I'll give you a very small example. Orientation, when we first get to know each other. Before we start arguing policy, we're just all humans, new people to Congress. You don't really get a lot of time to spend times with the other side of the aisle. The only time I'm with the Republicans is during the classes. And what are you supposed to do during class? Listen. The last half of the day, the social aspect, is all separated by party. So it's like little things like that where you're like, that makes sense why there's so much dysfunction here. And those things have stacked up. So it's been a little surprising to me. And my hope is we can get the reforms necessary to actually make the institution work the way it needs to.
Okay, so we're at the DNC. We are looking forward. So we have about 75 or so days until the election. What is it that you want to see? What kind of policies? What are the things you're wanting to see the Harris campaign bring forward?
I mean, I'm really excited about the housing platform that Vice President Harris has put forth. Honestly, it's one of the first times I think the Democratic Party has put together a housing platform that's really exciting. And so I'm really excited about that. What else do I want to see? Well, I'm excited to see the Vice President continue to talk about her plans around preventing the climate crisis. Obviously, the Biden-Harris administration is the administration to make history and dedicating the most resources and money towards defeating the climate crisis, not in the history of our country, in the history of the world. And so good things to come.
The Vice President's been very vocal on gun control. I know that's an issue that's very near and dear to your efforts. What are you hoping to see around that, and what role would you play in any efforts for that in the country?
Yeah, well, I'm proud that the first bill I introduced in Congress was to create a federal office of gun violence prevention. The president, took that legislation, wrote it with Senator Chris Murphy, and really used it as the foundation for an executive order. And he created the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, who's the leader of it? Vice President Kamala Harris. So I'm excited to see her expand that office. And what I want to see is us put more money towards CVI, Community Violence Intervention. These are programs, community-based, that work at identifying people most likely to be shot and the people most likely to shoot someone. And then they intervene at the community level. We have this program in Orlando. Gun violence has gone down in the blocks it's operating in. And how did we get the program started? Federal money. First from the American Rescue Plan, and then from the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. If incarceration alone were to solve crime and gun violence, we'd have no gun violence because we lock up the most people in the world.
Yeah. Okay, so I know our time is limited. Let's get a personal question in here. How do you grow as a politician and a leader with all of the complex issues here that we see in this country?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn about, and I'll have, 10 meetings in a day about completely different subjects. I'm going to be honest. Number one, it's a team effort. I have a great staff that really helps educate me on things. There's a lot of resources we can that are available to us. There's actually something called the Congressional Research Service, where I can go to my staff and say, I want an in-depth briefing on the situation in the Congo, right? And they will get experts from our government experts to come in and give me an in-depth briefing. It could be a short 101. It could be really in-depth if I want, to help teach me about what's going on and how our government's interacted with that situation. Then I can take that information. It's always the basis for me to do more research, speak with other outside groups as well. So we have a lot of resources we can take advantage of to educate ourselves. We're not going to be experts on every issue, but we should definitely try our best to educate ourselves on every issue. That way we can legislate in a better way.
We have so many issues like why is this important? Why is this election important?
This election's important because if we elect Donald Trump again, it's not a pause in progress, it's a rollback. And there are communities that won't survive. And that word survival means something different for everyone. More people will die of gun violence. He wants mass deportations of certain communities. Nothing will be done about the climate crisis. People will literally die. We're experiencing extreme heat right now that's killing more people than ever before. So lives are at stake. And as someone from the gun violence movement, my work and my organizing has always been on saving lives. And so we gotta make sure we don't let that guy anywhere near the White House, and Kamala Harris is gonna save lives.
Congressman Frost, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.